Everywhere you turn, somebody's talking about the nervous system, the fight or flight response, moving toward rest and digest, how we recalibrate, how we solve this problem that we find ourselves stuck in. And one of the best ways that I know how to train ourselves to become more and more resilient inside of our nervous system is to get on the mat and practice. So that's what this practice is about today, creating resilience. So whenever we're working inside of a yoga asana, a posture, and we find it to be challenging, and yet we remain calm, we are tonifying our nervous system. And we do that largely through the breath. The breath you can think of as the connector between the mind and the body. So if we're in a posture that is difficult and our body's going, holy shit, this is really hard, we stay with our breath and create ease. And we choose whether or not we need to back off or we can hold. So this is going to be a short practice of practicing nervous system regulation. So let's warm up a little bit. We're just going to draw those shoulders up and move the head side to side. We're shortening those muscles of the back of the neck, the back of the shoulders, so that when we release, it feels more spacious. And then let's grab the knees and cat-cow the spine a few times. Waking up a forward and backward motion of the spine, a C curve, and then opening the heart, opening the chin, turning the tailbone back. Go back and forth a few times. Again, we're not cranking on our bodies. We're finding this movement that feels just right. And then come into a tall spine. Let's drop that left hand down and swoop the right arm over. Bend the left elbow. Take a side bend through that spine. Take a giant inhale here. And exhale, turn. A little spiral for that spine. Inhale up. Heart, chest toward the ceiling. Exhale, lower the shoulder toward the floor. Your range of motion here is going to be dictated by how your body feels. Keeping in mind that the breath is the tool that we're going to be leaning on the most today. Next time you come up, straighten that bottom arm, come back up to sitting, pause and notice the circulation in the body. Right hand down, bend the elbow, and swoop that left arm up and over. Giant inhale, look for length, look for breath. Exhale, roll that chest shoulder down toward the floor, little spiral. Inhale up. One of the reasons we use repetition is because the body loves it. A few rounds of this and we suddenly find ourselves able to move a little bit better. Inhale, get length. Exhale, find a little twist through the torso. Complete the exhale. One more time. All right, let's come back to center. Pause and notice. Notice the difference between the right and the left side of the body. And then let's make our way onto our hands and knees, like a child about to crawl. So the hands are gripping, the fingertips are gripping, the shins are pressing. There's action through the entire body when we activate these places that are touching the floor. Feel it as much as you possibly can, and then lengthen the crown and relax. Let's do that a couple more times. Press and relax. One more time. Press, 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 and relax. Okay, let's tuck our toes and sit back to the degree that we can without causing us stress on our feet. My personal experience is that from day to day, this is sometimes pretty flexible and sometimes a little stiff, depending on what I did the day before. And frankly, depending on what I ate. All right, let's come back to table. Keep those toes tucked and come up into your first downward facing dog. Now, this may not be available to you if your wrists are a little challenged. If that's the case, drop your forearms down and just come up to the degree that you can. It may look like this. You may be able to come all the way up depending on your shoulders. And then let's lower back down. Flatten the feet and see how far you can sit back. Again, everyone's going to be a little bit different. This may not be available, so it might look like this. Fine. You're still feeling a stretch. Check in to see where your breath is. Are you holding it? Is it thorough? Is it deep? And then let's go back and forth between a stretch through the front of the thighs and the front of the feet. Come forward, curl the toes under, sink back so you're getting the bottom of the feet. And do that 2 or 3 more times. Be nice. Be gentle. All right, now that we've warmed up some of our tissue, let's finish that up a little bit. We're going to come into a gate pose, and we're just going to move in and out of a stretch. Now, if your knee doesn't like this very much, it might feel good to pad it up a little. Not too much, but enough to take any pressure off of that knee. And the idea here is to create stretch through this groin. It's a very common place for us to hold stress and tension. It's one of those muscles that attaches to the low spine into the inner thigh that has a tendency to seize when we're stressed out. So we're just going, hey, how are you doing? Sending a little love into that space that has a tendency to tighten up. Again, not cranking on it at all. So we step on the mat, and perhaps our initial intention is to create a little more flexibility. Brilliant. We all need flexibility. But we also want to create elasticity eventually. So once this feels open and receptive, not before, you can begin to create a little ballistic movement that creates a little more elasticity, bounce in these muscles. Keep your breath moving the entire time. And let everything that doesn't need to be engaged right now to stay relaxed. Okay, other side. But before we do, just notice how everything feels. Okay. Please be aware that because one side felt one way doesn't mean the second side's going to feel the same. It may be different, and we need to honor that. Back and forth, moving through a range that feels fine. Not too much, not too little. Just right. Where's your tension? What can you let go of? How's your breath? Is it safe for your body to practice a little elasticity? Couple more. All right. Let's find child's pose. We'll pause here for a moment. Your version of child's pose is all up to you. Can you put your forehead on the floor, or do you need to stack your forearms to make a pillow? Can you sink your hips all the way back to the heels, or do you need to be a little elevated? You decide. And if your knees hate this pose, they're like, "Oh, no, 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 no." An option would be just to hug the thighs into the chest. Same shape, less pressure on the knees. But no matter where you find yourself, settle. Let the shape do its work as we breathe and focus there. Here it might feel good to rock side to side. Shoulder to hip, back and forth. And if you're on your back, kick up to sitting. And let's pause again. Whenever I'm teaching nervous system resilience, the pause is a very important piece of work. Notice. See what's showing up in your field, in your body, in your mind. Is there anything clenching, tightening? Or can you find deep ease here? As you return to this practice, you will notice that this easefulness grows. And isn't that how we want to spend our time, moving through the world with ease? So I promised a little difficult posture to practice this ease in, right? That's what all this was for us to take it into something a little more difficult. So let's have a stand. And we'll take a wide stance, toes slightly out. And we want to bend our knees so we're tracking our knees over the center toes. And adjust your stance so that your knees aren't going out beyond the feet. So this is a modified goddess. A deeper goddess, obviously you would bend your knees a little bit more. I'm going to not do that today. I'm feeling a little bit tired. This is challenging enough. Lift your heels for a moment. Don't fall over. And then lift your toes and just go back and forth a couple of times. See what's happening. Just want to make sure we're not grabbing with the feet. They're nice and loose. And then we place them on the floor. We drop our tail. We lift our soft belly. And we open our arms. Now the arms aren't back. We can see them in our periphery. And we breathe. We try to bring that centered calmness into this posture. Life offers lots of opportunity for friction. Let's put it that way. We're creating friction on the mat right now. Just 1 or 2 more breaths when they come on up. Nice work. Pause and notice. Come back into that center. If you got a little riled up, just breathe into that more relaxed state. And we'll do one more posture that's a little difficult in a different way. We're going to come into stork pose. So begin to lift the toes and bring this right knee up to hip level. Flex your foot and then lift your arms. And the true stork would have your arms kind of like your hands grabbing or holding something up here. And breathe. See how steady you can stay. And if you're flailing and falling, that's information. And you're getting tons of value from this posture. All right, let's pause. And notice. Scan the body. Notice where you're holding tension. There really isn't any place that you need to hold tension if you're stacked, if your bones are stacked and you're aligned. Let's do the other side. So weight is on the right foot. There's ease in the foot. And then bring that left knee up. Arms up into stork. And breathe. Nice, fluid, even breath. Whether you hold this like a statue or it feels like a strong wind is trying to knock you over, you stay in that calm state. And you stay as long as you can without losing it, right? If you need to come out early, come out early. It's okay. All right, let's stand. And it's always a good idea to end every practice with some shavasana, corpse pose, total relaxation. Because if we did stimulate the nervous system, a pause, completely supported body, helps to bring us back into that sense of stillness. So for at least 5 minutes, just let your body melt